Hi there, this is Papa Charlie 7 Mike Mike with a video about the Direwolf APRS Web Dashboard that Richard, Papa Delta 3, Romeo Fox Romeo and me myself made based on the hard work of Alfredo India Zulu 7 Bravo Oscar Juliet. The web dashboard is downloadable via GitHub. It's in a repository. This is the URL. And yeah, first of all, we would like to thank Alfredo because in 2021 he made a Direwolf webstat interface, and in 2018 he made an APRS dashboard. And yeah, those two projects were input for our project, and yeah, we added, we improved it. We added many new features that we liked. So yeah, that resulted in the web dashboard. Details can be found on the GitHub page, but basically the code is there, some example log files and some screenshots are there. And this video gives an impression about yeah, how the things look and how they work. First of all, we have two style sheets. This is a basic style sheet. At this moment it's hosted on my iGate server, and this is I think the little bit nicer user interface, nicer style sheet, and that is hosted on the iGate of Papa Delta 3 Romeo Fox Romeo. I would like to just show you around in this web dashboard and let you see what it does. First of all, we have the home page, and what you see here is a list of call signs that were received, the amount of frames that were received. You see whether that station is moving or not. So let's say if it's a car, then the coordinates change, and then here it's indicated that it's moving. And again, yeah, for example, this is a digipeater, and that is static, of course, it's on a fixed location. Now we can see whether we received from this iGate from Richard, we can see whether the frames were received directly or via digipeater. We can see when it was last heard, and we see the physical distance between the digipeater of Richard and the station and the bearing, of course. And what's nice, we can click on a call sign. Let's say if we click on this one, we immediately get redirected to aprs.fi, where we see the information we are all familiar with. The second thing is, if we click on this one, we can see the frames that were received. So this is a filter basically. And what we can do here, we can change this for something else. So if I type my call sign, for example, then we might see some frames of my digipeater, which is not permanently installed. So that's why only a few frames are being displayed. So basically, yeah, this is the screen, and you can click on the station and it's getting sorted. You can click on any column and it's being sorted on that column. And what you can do, you can turn off and on the refresh rate. So if it's turned off like this, the information stays like this. And if you say refresh on, you will notice that the sort of the tables will change soon and the information is updated. Basically every 5 seconds the update is happening. So if I do like this, then the sort will change, and in some seconds you will see that the data is updated again. Even if there's no change, then the data is updated. What you can do, basically what we see now is the information from this log file, the log file of today, and we see the information of the whole day. But we can also say, just show us the last hour. And we only see the frames that were received last hour by the iGate, by the digipeater. But I put it back to the whole day, for that's easier for this video. What we can also do is we see here that 150 frames were received in this log file. And we see that 100 frames were received as well on this interface. Now, Richard only has one interface, so we cannot switch between them. I will soon switch to my interface, and then I will show you around in that. But what I would like to see is that, we can go also to this button, and then we show, we can see the frames that were received yesterday. So if I click on that, we are one log file earlier, and then we see different numbers, of course, and different information. But we can, yeah, we can say we go to today, we can even say we go to tomorrow, but then things are empty, of course. But nevertheless, if there would be a log file like this, it would be displayed, and even, yeah, we can go further in the future. And what we can also do, we can go back and forth, so to say. Yeah, let me switch first to my dashboard. That's basically the same, but again in another style sheet. This is more basic, but I have more interfaces. So what I can show you here is that there's a button, for example, here, change radio interface, and I can say I want to go to interface 0. I think I don't have packets today at that interface, so that's why I see there are 0 frames on this interface, but nevertheless there are 81 frames in this log file. So I just change back to channel 4, where I receive my frames at at this moment. So that's quite handsome that you can just change interface and then you see what happened on that specific interface. Okay, I go back to this to the iGate of Richard. The second tab that I would like to show you is the system status, and that just shows some basic metrics about the operating system, about the CPU, about the memory usage. It also shows to which APRS server, APRS-IS server, the iGate is connected. And if I click on that, a new frame opens, and then I get to redirected to the website of that APRS-IS server, and basically Richard is running his own one, so that's why we see this server, but it could also be any tier 2 server of the APRS network. We see whether the Direwolf status is running or not. We see the iGate operator, and we can click on that one, and if we click on that, we get redirected to the QRZ page, in this case the QRZ page of Richard, where we have also a nice insight in his beautiful shack with a nice equipment. What we see more is that we can see which clients are connected. So if I click here, then we get redirected to a simple page that shows the information about this IP address. And basically, this is me. But if more clients would be there, more visitors of this web interface, then the IPs would be listed. For example, you see here now that another IP address is added, and that is most likely Richard himself, who is visiting this web dashboard from his own shack, and now he's leaving again. What we can also do is we can view information about a specified station, and basically it's the same as if we click on a frame here. So if you click here on this frame, you get redirected to this page with a filter automatically set to this. But again, I could also say I want everything with a 9, I just press a 9. Yes, or if I say I want everything with Papa Charlie 7 Mike Mike, I see only I enter just Papa Charlie 7 Mike Mike. So basically, this is an implicit wildcard search. Yeah, you don't have to add the asterisks, but basically it's there. And again, you see the same setup here. You can put the refresh, automatic refresh off. You can put it on. You can go earlier, today, later, and you get insight in which frames are received on which interface. And you will see also that it is a filter now. So you see 2 frames for Papa Charlie 7 Mike Mike, and it's all nicely explained here. Then we have another one, that's the traffic monitor. Basically, what this one does, it shows the activity, the real-time activity on all radio interfaces for the log file of today. And again, it's automatically being refreshed, but you can put it off if you would like to. And what's also is that this rate can be changed, but I will show that later on. What's also good to know is that suppose that I'm looking to a log file not of today but of yesterday, for example this one, or even one day back, and I go to specified station, then it stays there. Yes, it's still the 17th, but if I go to the traffic monitor, which is real time, then it automatically changes to the log file of today, because it wouldn't make sense to see real-time traffic from days before. Another tab is the iGate monitor that we added, and that's also a nice one. It's also based, by the way, on the hard work of Alfredo, because he initially made this and we integrated it, improved it, and modified it a little bit. What you can do, you can make a list of digipeters, iGates, or even just regular call signs. It could be a car or your home station, doesn't matter. And you can see whether it's running or not. And basically the setup is as such at this moment, the configuration is as such that within 60 minutes, if no beacon is received, then the status is converted to not running. Now you see the protopad, some details, the sysop, and of course, like you can see, you can click on it. So for example, if I click on this one, I get redirected to the QRZ page of Papa Delta 0 Charlie Lima. And I can also click on the sysop, and then I get redirected automatically to the QRZ page of Papa Delta 0 Charlie Lima. So yes. And this one is turned off automatically, the refresh. You can turn it on, it's no problem. But what's important to know is that this makes use of the API of aprs.fi, the website. And they have a kind of limit sometimes in how many queries you can make within an hour, and sometimes it's too much, and then you get an error message that displays that the query limit is reached. So that's why by default the refresh is turned off, and if you compare it with all the other pages, for example, let's go to the home page, it's always turned on because we think it's most convenient. Another functionality is the APRS-IS server. Basically, it's the same IP address as that what is shown here in the system status. But here, like you already saw, it is the same IP address. But basically here you also have a nice object that shows basically the detail page of the APRS-IS server in the screen. There's one thing to mention. At this moment, I'm visiting this page without SSL certificate, so it's HTTP and not HTTPS. If I go, for example, to my dashboard, then I see that I am visiting an HTTPS. And due to security restrictions from the browsers, the modern browsers, if I click on the same link here, you see that there is a message and it says that it's not opened automatically in an object because this is HTTPS. The APRS-IS server only supports HTTP, and that is not considered to be secure. So you have to press manually on the link to open the dashboard from the APRS-IS server. And here I see, for example, that I'm at this moment connected to D2 check. So that is the server where Direwolf is connected to. I go back to the style of Richard because I like that one more. And here we also have a very nice one, that is the console viewer. And what it does basically, it redirects the output of the Direwolf console to a web interface. And it's quite nice. It refreshes automatically as well. And what you can also do is turn off or on the automatic scroll down. So if an update is there, the scroll bar goes down automatically every time. And that is, that's quite practical, because if you are doing some experiments or you just want to see around what's happening, then this is a nice way of displaying what's happening in the console. Yes, we have an about page. It's just a simple page with just a conceptual diagram which we made about how the APRS network components are linked to each other. And of course, we give credits to the developers, and that again is Alfredo, India Zulu 7, Bravo Oscar Juliet, and Papa Charlie 7 Mike Mike, that's me, and of course Papa Delta 3 Romeo Fox Romeo. So that's that about the web interface. What I would like to show around a little bit is, this is basically secure shell on the node itself, and you see those files. They are nicely available in the GitHub repository that I showed. If you go to code here, then you can see the files are there. Yes, and here in the explanation, it mentioned a little bit what it does. And here there are some instructions for installing and configuring the dashboard. Every situation is different, so it might not be applicable to your specific situation, but basically this is a high over explanation of how it works. But what I would like to show you is just the config file, because there are some parameters that you can customize yourself. Basically everything that you can customize or that you should customize is added to this file. It's quite long, but I will just show you around a little bit. You can choose a style sheet. You can customize your own, of course, but you can also use one of the two style sheets that are supplied with the dashboard. The one is the white one. That's the one I designed, and Richard has a nicer one. I think that's mentioned too. So you can change it. You can change the time zone if you need it. This is the refresh rate. If you change it to 3 seconds, then everything will refresh faster. But I have to say, we think that's why we mentioned here you should not go below 5 seconds. It's just a matter of balancing. You have to see how fast your equipment is and what is necessary, because everything creates bandwidth. And if, for example, with APRS-FI, if you increase, or so to say decrease this number, then most likely you get earlier error messages that says that the parameter is reached. So that you can change the description if you want to, the version, that's what we supply with it. But if you want to change things, that's possible. Of course, you can change your call sign. This is the link to the website that gives you the information about the IP address of the client that is connected. Now here we have some IP ports. You can just leave that normally. If you have a different log path, you can change it. Your GPS coordinates, you can enter there for the distance calculations. Here you can define your channels as defined in Direwolf itself. And you can make a choice if you start the dashboard, if you would like to be asked, okay, which interface would you like to use, or that it says, okay, no, I just use standard, for example, interface 4 in my situation, and I make it static, so then you don't get the question every time. Now there is an URL for the Direwolf logo. You can also change it as you wish. the miles or kilometers. You can choose, yeah, if you go to the traffic monitor, you can see, I can show you, maybe that's easier. If you go to the traffic monitor, for example, you can do it here as well. Then you see that 5 lines are being displayed. So the 5 last lines, and that is what is mentioned here, basically in this parameter. Now, yeah, the traffic monitor, indeed, it says now that all radio interfaces are being displayed. This is the channel basically, but you can also turn it off. You can also do it for specific channels, so you can change that. Now, this is a parameter that is being used for the iGate monitor, and we already said 60 minutes. Now that's exactly 3,600 seconds. You can change that, and the list of the stations that you see here that are being monitored, they can be adjusted here, and yeah, you also have to provide the sysop call signs. This is the secret API key. I will change it after this video. I forgot to change it. So this is the API key for aprs.fi that is being used to basically fill this table. This map has nothing to do with aprs.fi, by the way. That has to do with aprs-direct.de. It's just a website, aprs-direct.de, and that is being called, this website is being called basically with a list, yeah, of those call signs. So it's quite nice that you see every time you just saw this one that yeah, then a beacon is sent by that node. So that's also quite nice. If you go back, the console log, that's also something that I would like to elaborate a little bit on. We are almost at the bottom side of the file anyway. This information can only be shown if it is redirected from Direwolf itself to a file, and that file, we added an example here, many different configuration, many different situations, but nevertheless, this is important that you take care that the output of Direwolf is redirected to a file. Maybe you start Direwolf as a service. That would be the most, the most ideal situation, I would say. But nevertheless, add this one to the file, and here we added a list, the things that come from a Direwolf manual, and you can see how you can change parameters, because this is -dif. Now it means the D is debug, the I means that at this moment most likely the iGate is being logged, and that the F, that might be file, let me see, the F, the packet filtering, indeed, that is being logged. But you can change this according to your wishes. So that's this one. Now, yeah, in the console log, for example here, we see every time the file is being updated, we see such a green line, and I think that's nice, because then you know when that update was. If you look this, then you can think, when was this? It's not so clear. But because those green lines, you can see it nicely, and can also see what a new file size is and which bytes were read from the file. But if you like to, you can turn it off. Then you just see the file as you would see it. If you see it from Direwolf itself, then you see it exactly the same without those green lines. You can adjust it. And it's also interesting, suppose that you open the console viewer and your log file would be, let's say, 1 megabyte big, because your node is running for a while, could be, then the whole megabyte is being downloaded or uploaded, as you wish, to this browser, and that's quite a lot, and it's maybe not necessary, because you might be interested in the last lines anyway. And that's why we added this parameter, so you can see that the last 10,000 bytes will be displayed. So if you open it, that's what you see initially. Last but not least, this is a little bit a technical one. You should never change that, but it has to do with the dynamic Ajax updates that we implemented in the pages. It means that, it has to do with, it's mentioned here, whether the content is added or replaced, basically. That's what it is. And you can imagine that if you visit this page, this content is replaced every time. Every 5 seconds, the content is completely replaced. And if you look, for example, to the traffic monitor, that is not replaced, but the table is getting longer and longer. So if somebody is being received now, then there comes an extra line. And basically that is what this setting is for. So yeah, this gives an impression about the web dashboard and what we made out of it. And again, would like to thank Alfredo again for his work that he did years ago, and also Richard, of course, because we made this together in that way. Last but not least, maybe it's good to tell that Richard and I made a video in the past that explains how you could set up your own Direwolf-based iGate with an RTL SDR. And yeah, this dashboard can be used in that situation as well. So it could be interesting to see the video if you like it. It's mentioned on the GitHub page. And we are also thinking, most likely, making a video about a more complicated scenario with Direwolf, that you have more radios, more DGPing options, and yeah, a video might follow that explains that. So I think I come to an end for now, and I hope this was of value, and I wish you a nice day, and 73, Papa Charlie 7, Mike.